your weekly view of young leaders taking big steps. This is Next Gen. Sponsored by PFI Western Wear, home of Boot Daddy. Quite possibly a hidden gem in the Ozarks, the George Washington Carver National Monument here in Diamond, Missouri. We're here to learn about Dr. Carver, the agriculturalist and humanitarian.
As a park ranger here at George Washington Carver National Monument, my goal or my job is actually to interpret the story. So I do that through a variety of methods, including guided tours, exhibits, and social media, and so on.
Well, you talked about telling the story, and it's a historical story that kind of puts Diamond, Missouri on the map when it comes to the history and life of George Washington Carver. So briefly give us the historical relevance of this location here in Diamond.
Well, the location, the national park is located here in Diamond because this land is the birthplace and childhood home of George Washington Carver. So the man who grew up to become the famous educator and scientist, the great humanitarian, actually began his life here on this land in slavery during the Civil War. So he basically rose from, such humble beginnings and difficult times to becoming world known.
So let's talk about him in his adult life. What led him to know that science and educating others and educating himself was so important?
Well, as a child in Missouri, he was called a plant doctor, so he already had a talent for working with plants. When he went to college in the beginning, he was focusing on art, and he really he focused on botanical drawings. And between his thoughts about what his purpose in life was and the advice of one of his advisors there at the school, he changed his major to agriculture. So he also changed his school, so now he's a student at Iowa State College in Ames, Iowa. And he believed that by changing to agriculture, he could be of greater help to his fellow African Americans. When he graduated with his master's in agriculture in 1896, he had been recruited by Booker T. Washington to come to Alabama. Tuskegee Institute was the school that had recently been founded, and they needed a director of agriculture, their brand new agriculture department. And so Mr. Carver became the director of agriculture at Tuskegee Institute in Alabama. And that began basically a 47-year life's work in agriculture in many different facets. He wrote agricultural bulletins. He taught farmers who oftentimes were illiterate, taught them things like better soil, building up your soils, better natural fertilizers, how to can and preserve your food, and this would be more for the housewives or the homemakers. He helped outfit the Jessup wagon, which was a traveling school that went out to the towns, to the farm families who couldn't come to Tuskegee Institute. So he also was on the lecture circuit. So George Washington Carver traveled a lot and became a lecturer and talked very much about agriculture and the interconnectedness of all things.
Education is a key component in his life, but that's what you do here every single day, 365 days out of the year. Here is educate young students coming through, whether they're coming on a field trip or they're here with their families. Take us through the educational components that you guys get to instill in young people all the time.
Education programs are very important here, a key part of what we do, and interesting you would say a key component of his life. He actually told Booker T. Washington in 1896, part of his sentence to him was, "Education is the key to unlock the golden door of freedom for our people." So that was part of his answer to take the new job at Tuskegee Institute. And even up to this moment today, education is a key part of what we do at this national park. Visitors are here all the time on their own, but our guided field trip programs are amazing. We serve about 10,000 students a year on-site field trips. So when they take a guided tour where the ranger tells them the life story of Mr. Carver, they go in the science lab and they get to do a hands-on experiment using peanuts or sweet potatoes. They also get free time in our museum exhibits, and so that's really fun. But we do more. We do traveling trunks. We do distance learning or video conferences for long-distance students. We go to classrooms and talk to kids. We have education materials that we loan out. We have a great website with education components on it, and we even have a teacher workshop coming up this July. So we do a lot.
So let's go meet some of these kids and see what they're learning.
All right.
So Mrs. Winton, take us through why you bring your second graders back to George Washington Carver National Monument year after year.
Well, it's an all-day experience. It takes them into history a little bit, gives them a little idea of what it was like way back when Dr. Carver was a little boy, the hardships he went through, and then it lets them see some of the products and things that have come out of all of his struggles. It teaches the kids perseverance, which is a big word that we talk about at school. But it's also hands-on, and it's so interactive, and it keeps the kids engaged, and they just go away feeling like they've really had a good day of it.
Well, we traveled with them into the classroom, into the lab today, and some of the words that ring true to me, because it's what we're all about in the agriculture community is the word agriculture. They learned about what is a legume, what is crop rotation, what does it mean to add nitrogen back into the soil. So at the end of the day, you know, you mentioned history and the science that they're able to come into. At the end of the day, what do you want your kids to go home with?
I think maybe a feeling of we plant seeds in the classroom as well, and just watching them, they're sprouting now, and just watching how something we take for granted every day is so amazing to the child. And so when we come out here and then they get to see the full picture of what Dr. Carver did and some of the experiments, getting to experiment in the lab, you know, I think those are the things that they take away from this, besides just what we could learn in a book.
Right, right. Over the years, has there been any aha moments that you've had by bringing your kids here and letting them experience something, as you said, hands-on, and something new that they're not getting out of that book?
Well, the experiment we did today, just from a peanut and crushing it, and then just watching their eyes light up when they see that they've made milk. You know, they don't think about that, and then once they do it, so I enjoy the science lab part of it. All kids love science anyway. That's usually a big aha moment. But then when we're on the trail and we get to go see like where he grew up at, they're really interested in the secret garden, where that might be, where he did all his plants and growing and taking care and nursing back to health, you know, the plants. They really kind of like wondering where that is too. They do like seeing the home where he grew up in and all that too.
So what does it mean, you know, to you as an educator, as a resident of Southwest Missouri, to have this national monument, this opportunity for your kids right here next door to us?
Well, you know, you always think field trips need to be far, you know, somewhere neat, and then we've got this little pocket of this little gem right here. And I think with all the things that Dr. Carver did for the whole world, all those beginnings started right here, and they get to see full circle from boyhood to what he accomplished in his life right here. So, you know, I mean, it's the best field trip right in our backyard.